Howdy partners, and welcome to episode 2 of Let's Play Planet Coaster Frontier Adventure here on Theme Park Worldwide. It's going to be an action-packed episode, this one. Going to be putting in the first roller coaster as part of this park. It's going to be a Gerstlauer Euro-Fighter, and I'm going to be starting that within the next few minutes. Along with that as well, I'm going to be doing a lot of other theming around the coaster and also part of this area as well. And as you can see, we've got the train station that I put into place back in episode 1 that I'm now going to start to put the theming on there to make it fit with this overall area. And as I mentioned back in episode 1, of course the whole park's going to have this Wild West Frontier theme. However, there is going to be different towns that are all kind of having different celebrations or competing, or lots of differences to them between the towns, and that's going to be something that you're going to notice throughout the series as well. And the area that we're working on here is all part of that opening area that you can see, and we're actually going to name that in this episode as well. I've come up with a name for the first themed area. Something that I am going to need names for though is of course the Frontier Adventure Railway that we've put into place here. Something a little bit more inspiring than that I'm looking for, so get your comments coming in. And also, I'm going to need a name for this Gerstlauer Euro-Fighter that I'm going to be building in the next few minutes. And of course, I'm also going to need a storyline for that as well. But more about that later on once I'm actually building it and when you can start to see how the ride's looking, and also as well give you a bit of a feel for it. But yes, welcome to Tannpost Station, as you can see. So Tannpost is actually the Wild West town name that I've gone for the entrance area of the park. And of course, this coaster that's going to be on the left hand side just here, that's all going to form part of it. So yeah, in terms of the train station, putting lots of little details on there. We've got the little train times board going out at the front, just saying trains all day, every 5 minutes, just on there. Just the little details that really make it. That sign didn't need to be there, but I thought, yes, let's add it in. It's all about theming, it's all about immersion, and that's what this park in particular is all about. It's really about transporting you back to the Old West. And one of the rides that's going to do that is this Gerstlauer Euro-Fighter that is actually going to feature a launch. So as you can see, working on the launch there, I'm just raising it up a little bit. So it's over the path, and here we go, going into the first inversion there. It's going to feature multiple different inversions, this ride, and I thought, you know what, I don't want it to be too tall either, and that's all about sight lines and the perspective. Now, as much as the whole park's going to have the same theme to it, I still want to be careful with sight lines to make sure that things don't look too intrusive, and that's why the first 2 inversions here on this Eurofighter are pretty low actually. That's the tallest point of the ride, but yeah, it's pretty low. It's not that tall at all, just so it doesn't spoil the whole entrance area that we've put together. Following on from them first 2 inversions, as you can see, we've put a third one in, a nice loop there, and also an Airtime Hill which goes above the station as well. After that, the train banks round to the left hand side, where we're going to send it now into a 4th and final inversion there as well. And I thought, you know what, let's yeah, put a nice final inversion in, and then of course we can take it round back under them first couple of inversions on the ride, bank it round to the left, like you can see that I'm doing here. In terms of how long it took to build this coaster in real time, I'd say about 25-30 minutes. Like I say, you know, with the coasters, I enjoy building them, but for me it's more about making them look pretty and adding all the theming that makes it. Crosses back over the path there, after it banks up to the right, into another Airtime Hill, and of course another moment where you're going to bank round to the right before heading up into the brake run. So yeah, you know, a bit of a different layout for this one, because a lot of Eurofighters do start with a vertical lift hill and a beyond vertical drop. I didn't want to do that with this. I thought, no, let's go in with a nice launch, and that also means we don't need a big intrusive lift hill on this left hand side of the park. So I thought, yeah, that this would work really well as a launch. So that's the layout. Later on in the episode, I will take you on board for a ride and also put in some nice cinematic shots of it as well. Now, the queue line, a nice bit of interaction there, going just over where that Airtime Hill is. We've got a little bit of cattle pen queue line just before the brake run there that we've added in as well. All that's actually going to be covered over, as you'll see in the next few minutes as it's coming together. And talking of covering over, just working on the station now, making sure that the station's covered. Of course, we've got the Airtime Hill that goes nicely over the station there. This would be like a little pre-show inside that area, especially if the park was built in real life, which I would love to see some of my creations come to life. I really would. Don't think it's ever going to happen unless I win Euro Millions, but you know, like, yeah, I would love to see some of these creations come to life. I really would, some of these parks that I've built. And of course, if you've just started watching Planet Coaster here on Theme Park Worldwide, then hello and welcome to the channel. New videos are going to be every Wednesday with Planet Coaster. There's new videos every day on the channel regarding theme parks, but Planet Coasters every Wednesday for this series. And also go back and check out the playlist. There's over 100 episodes of Planet Coaster here on the channel since I started playing the game over 4 years ago. So yeah, if you're looking for some entertainment, want some inspiration for your Planet Coaster park, whether it's on PC or console, of course you can go back through and look at all the different episodes. I play on a PC, but I know that there's a lot of people now, especially with it being released on console, that are playing Planet Coaster. So as you can see now, I'm starting to add some more details onto that station building. Pretty big station building because of course we've got part of the queue line that extends up into there as well. And it's just about making sure that we get the right look for this, adding lots of different wooden panels around the side. The building style here, very similar to that as what you saw in episode 1, the buildings around the entrance. My plan is to add, like I say, as much variety to the buildings as possible, as it's going to get too samey throughout the whole park. If all the buildings, yes, it's all going to have a Wild West Frontier theme, but if all the buildings look too similar, it'd be pretty boring to walk around and think, oh, there's just another saloon what looks the same, and there's another jail. You know, so we're not going to do that. But with this being part of the first area, then like I say, I want all the buildings in the Tan Post town, which we're working on here, to actually have the same sort of style. And that's why this is with this, because like I say, it's going to be a big signature ride. As soon as you walk into the park, off to the left, and there is going to be another even bigger signature ride, which is going to be off to the right hand side. Two big signature rides as soon as you go into the park. Like I say, the focus of this park is more on thrills than it is family. There's going to be a few family attractions, but there's not going to be like a children's area or anything like that at this park. It is mostly aimed at the thrill market, and that will reflect in the rides that are being built. Lots of coasters, some big water rides, and like I say, the fact that we've gone in with this coaster, and the next episode 3, we'll be building another coaster, and I'll reveal that later on. So as you can see, I'm just starting to line the pathways now. Pathways look a lot more realistic in my opinion when you actually put in your own fences around the side, instead of actually using the ones that come sometimes with the pathways. I think for queue lines it doesn't look too bad. As you can see actually with the queue line there, I've left some of the wooden panels on because that looks okay, but especially around the normal paths, I think it is better putting in the more customised railings and stuff that you can get in the game, and different fence panels around the edge, and we've used them wooden logs to go around because I thought, yeah, it just adds a bit of a variety. We've not used them yet so far in this park or around the entrance area. We've used like a standard fence. As you can see, we're putting in this nice big locomotive here. Thought this would work really well opposite the train station. We could have a little sign next to it. This is like an old loco that's not in service anymore. That's why it's on a piece of track just out the front that's not connected up to the main train line, because of course we're going to have the train making its way in and out of the area. Now let's talk about the theme, shall we, of this ride. Of course Wild West, but how is it going to fit into this park? What is the meaning behind it? Why is this ride here? Now, as you know from episode 1, the town of Tan Post that we've now named is actually going through a bit of a town celebration at the moment. So that's why you've got all of the flags up all the way around, all of the rosettes, that sort of thing, because they're going through a bit of a celebration. However, it's up to you guys, the viewers, to come up with what is Tan Post celebrating. Now, whatever they're celebrating, this roller coaster has also got to be a part of it. So bear that in mind when you come up with this one. Bit of a trickier one to come up with, because like I say, it's got to be celebrating something, because I wanted all the banners, with it being the first entrance, the first area near the entrance, to be a really like glamorous Wild West, should we say. Everything's perfect around here, everything looks really pretty, and as you'll see with some of the later areas, we're going to change that with some parts of it. But yeah, so get your theme ideas and storylines coming in, and also names for the railroad and also this Gerstlauer Euro-Fighter as well. And I will reveal those names in the next episode. So as you can see now, we're starting to move on to more of the landscaping around the coaster. I've put in a building there as well underneath them first couple of inversions, just as a bit of a near miss, and also to fill in a bit of a gap. You know me, I like to put in just random buildings. They don't necessarily have to house anything. I just think it looks quite nice actually putting them in, just to fill in some of the areas. Something else we're doing around here as well is just blocking in the footers with this really nice orange rocks that can go around, hashtag rockwork, that we can put in all the way around here. It's back, hashtag rockwork, here at Theme Park Worldwide. Love a bit of rockwork, not just in Planet Coaster, but in a real theme park. And one of the best parks for that hashtag rockwork is actually Phantasialand in Germany, because they've got plenty of it. Loads of rockwork all the way around, especially around Chiapas and also around Klugheim and Taron. Looks amazing with the rocks. As you can see, this is starting to look pretty full around the ride now, but not full enough for me, so I'm going to put in some more theming. We've got a stagecoach there, a couple of wagons, trying to stay away really from going down the mine route at the moment, because there's going to be a mining town later on, and that's going to be a little bit further back in this park. So I'm trying to stay away from like the mine carts and that sort of thing. Might put the odd one around, but I'm not going to be putting loads out of mine shafts and all that sort of stuff. That's going to come later on. Safety is always paramount in a theme park, and that's the same here at Frontier Adventure. So as you can see, we're just putting in these little roofs underneath where the track is pretty close there. I mean, if we're being realistic, you wouldn't have an open launch like that without there being something there to protect the riders down below from loose articles. Don't need to worry too much about like a cable snap, because of course it's using the LSMs for this launch. A lot of Intamin coasters, of course, like Rita at Alton Towers, Stealth at Thorpe Park, they do use a cable, and there's always the concern of that snapping, and it is something what has happened before on a few different rides out there. So you know, a lot of parks do tend to block in the areas. It actually happened on Rita at Alton Towers. That's why they put in the scaffolding tunnel underneath Rita that doesn't look great, but it does keep you safe. I was always thinking, oh, that'll only be done for the year, because after the cable snaps, but no, it's still there to this day. Probably what, 7 or 8 years on after that incident happened. I thought, oh, they'd make a permanent tunnel, but they haven't done yet. It's still standing. This is where it's done this winter. You never know, anything's possible. Pigs can fly. But anyway, as you can see here, a bit of an overview of what we've done so far. Put the train track just out to the right a little bit. With the train track, don't have a clue what the route's going to be at the moment. We're just going to let that flow and see how it goes with the train track, because you know, I'm not going to plan like a circular route for it, or where the stations are going to be. We know there's going to be at least one more station, but it's where it's going to be in this park. And likewise, I don't really have a full plan for the park. All I know is there's going to be another coaster, similar location as this, but on the opposite side of the entrance, and it's going to be a lot bigger, and it's going to be really cool. I'll tell you later on about that. So this celebration is taking place in Tanpost. We've got the town celebration going on, so that theme extends to the coaster here. So we're putting all this signage in, celebration today, and all that sort of stuff to really make people realise that this town is really happy. Tanpost is in a really good place in the Wild West world. We've got some nice lighting going in around there as well. And of course, your name could be up there in lights in a Theme Park Worldwide Planet Coaster project, because of course we've got them nice big boards that are going round, and I will change that at some point in the future before we open the park, and change it from ride name here to the ride name that someone has suggested. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. I'm sure a lot of you by now, 14 minutes in, have got some good ideas about what you want to be doing. And as always, I do read every single comment on all of the videos here on Theme Park Worldwide, and I especially love reading through the Planet Coaster comments and seeing what you guys have come up with. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with this one for this celebration, and of course fitting in with the whole Wild West theme still. A bit more I'm asking from you this time with this one, but I am certainly looking forward to it. Tell you what though, it's looking pretty good round here, isn't it? Like, I'm really pleased with the Euro-Fighter. I think, you know, going with the launch and keeping it quite low was a good thing to do. I didn't want anything too intrusive. Like I say, the plan with the coaster that I'm going to put on the other side is that it's going to have a big lift hill, but it's going to be further back from the entrance because of the size of it. With the exact position of this Eurofighter, I wanted to make sure that, you know, we just didn't cause anything that would ruin sightlines too much from the entrance. I just think a big coaster towering over too much on the left here just wouldn't have been great at all, especially because there's going to be a much larger coaster going on the opposite side that we're going to be building in episode 3. I'm hyping this one up a lot, aren't I? Have any of you guessed yet? We'll find out. We're putting some more little details in now, just on the roof there. Got all some ropes, got some barrels, got some little chests there as well, all sorts of stuff, wooden boxes, random stuff that all just fits to fill gaps basically. I don't like leaving much empty space in my parks. I really like to fill them to the max with theming and make it immersive. That's what it's all about, and that's what I enjoy. I like building the coaster, but as you've seen, that, you know, was built in like a couple of minutes, of course with the time-lapse footage that I show you all. But yeah, it's the theming what takes the time. The coaster in real time took, like I say, maybe half an hour tops to build, whereas the theme in here, what you're seeing, is about 3.5 to 4 hours work to do all of this theming. So in total, this was nearly a 5-hour project in terms of what you're seeing in this episode, the full episode. So yeah, it gives you a bit of an idea on how much time you have to put into things. I've had people actually request that could I slow down the footage a little bit. The only issue is if I did that is the episodes will be much longer, and I've always wanted to try and keep these under 30 minutes. Back when I did the first series, I felt that the episodes were way too long. I wanted to kind of make it a bit more bite-sized, break it down a little bit. It's like with this, you know, if I could have, you know, slowed the footage down a little bit more and spread it out, but you know, I think it's more exciting to watch, seeing a bit more progress, thinking that 16 minutes in and we've built this coaster, the theming's coming on, instead of watching me place things like these barrels and these ropes and stuff. I've probably put about 30 of them down in the past minute. If that was much slower, you know, then it wouldn't be very exciting to watch, and I'd much rather keep it up. So I am going to be keeping up the speed with it. However, when I do build the coaster, I will slow it down slightly. I did that today. It was slowed down a little bit just so you get a bit of an idea, and also with any other coaster projects, I will slow it down a little bit so you get more of an idea. But like I say, I won't be slowing down the whole episodes because it would take a lot longer with things. I'd much rather keep it bite-sized, keep it under that 30-minute radius, and then it means that, of course, you know, it makes it more exciting to watch, and we're accomplishing more, aren't we, as well, you know, in a shorter space of time with the series. It's like Christmas Wonderland. I would not have been able to put as much in that park and do it in 10 episodes if I'd have had the footage really slowed down. So I'll be sticking with it just like this. And like I say, the majority of people are quite happy with it like this, but we've had a few people say, oh, could you just, you know, could you slow it down a little bit? But yeah, hopefully that I've explained it all a little bit more there so it makes a bit more sense. This is something that really annoys me in Planet Coaster. The actual operators panels, shame you can't really change the colours on them, so I've actually put wooden blocks around the side. If you're having issues doing that, go into your settings, disable scenery collision, and you'll be sorted. And you can place things everywhere. You can put these lights on the track if you really wanted to. But yeah, you know, you want to be turning that off, you know, when you're doing projects like this, as you're going to have it stopping you from placing things in places. And like I wouldn't have been able to do that just what I did over in the station and blocking up the operators panel and putting the wooden boards in. It would have told me off for doing it. Well, it wouldn't have let me. Putting in some lighting now because the theming is almost complete all the way around this. I tell you what, Tan Post is looking fantastic now with the entrance area, the train station, and then this wonderful Gerstlauer coaster off to the left hand side as well. I was thinking originally of doing an infinity coaster like the Smiler at Alton Towers, something like that, have it as a 16-seater and have maybe some more inversions, but I thought no, let's keep it simple. Let's go for a nice Gerstlauer Euro-Fighter with the over-the-shoulder restraints. I thought, yeah, this would still work nicely, and it has. I'm really pleased. Actually, I'd say this fits in better than what I was expecting. I wasn't too sure at first, but I don't really have a master plan for this part, like I say, and I don't with any of my Planet Coaster projects too much. I have a good idea what I'd like to do, but I don't particularly have a big master plan. So with this, I'm pleased with how it's looking so far, and yeah, you know, I just want to make sure there's enough variety between the different areas, just so that we have a nice difference between, like this is Tampost down here. I want to make sure that the other areas all have a little bit of a different look to it. And I've got in my head what I'd like to do after the next coaster, possibly a water ride. I'm thinking maybe a bit of a Grand Canyon style feel. We'll change the trees to some cacti and that sort of thing, so that's what I'm looking at anyway. As you can see then here, put your ride name there. I need them ride names, so get them coming in the comments down below. Like I say, a ride name for the coaster, a storyline for the coaster, why are they celebrating, why is this ride here and part of the celebration, and also as well a name for the actual train station. So that's all I'm going to need for the next episode. Get them comments coming in the next few days, because of course I do record these episodes a couple of days before the release, normally filmed on the Monday, so get your suggestions coming in, so of course you have a chance to have it featured. But there's going to be loads of opportunities to have your names and storylines, and maybe even a few more bits featured inside this wonderful theme park, because you know what, I like to keep the channel and the series as interactive as possible. Just a little bit of landscaping going in now, nothing too much, but just want to make sure that we put a little bit of shrubbery around just to fill in a few gaps, should we say. Like, you know, I don't like to have all the rocks just properly exposed like that. I think it's nice just to put a little bit more on there, just to fill in some of the gaps. But overall, this is looking pretty good. Other than putting in a couple more bits, I decided, after watching a POV of the ride, I decided that with us having a little ride stop before the launch, we needed to put like a little part over there, and you'll see me start to work on that in just a moment. And also as well, we're putting in this signage for the entrance of the railroad. I'm just going to put railroad, of course, on there for now, and then we can change that once I've got a name for that station. Yes, so here I am working on this little structure. Like I said, we have a ride stop, so it gets dispatched there, then it stops, then it launches. So I wanted to make sure that there's something there, all again to do with the celebration. Just going to put get ready on one side of it, just, you know, a bit of audio could play before it actually launches out up there and into the rest of the layout. Yeah, you know, overall this coaster's looking good. It's pretty heavily themed. That's a nice little head chopper element there, isn't it? It's just put a no headroom sign. Always used to love that on the Runaway Mine train at Alton Towers. Used to have a no headroom sign, and it got took out a few years ago. I think Alton Towers couldn't be bothered to replace the wood, and it was going rotten. You could see it was going rotten. They're probably thinking, right, just in case it falls, we need to take it out, and then they just didn't replace it, which is a shame. In my opinion, if a piece of theming comes out because it's rotten, it needs replacing. And you know what a good park is for that? And even with the Wild West theme, Portaventura in Spain, they have replaced a lot of their theming, like in the Wild West area, with new barrels and wooden panels and that sort of stuff. And you know what, they've done a really good job of it. It's very high quality. But here we go, it's the moment that we've been waiting for. Let's take a ride then, get ready to launch here on this Gerstlauer Euro-Fighter, straight up there into that first inversion. Beautiful, nice and smooth. Straight up there into the second inversion, bit of a near miss element as well before heading straight up into the loop. That's quite nice, isn't it? It takes you with a good speed. Got some mist and smoke effects in there as we head through the station, bank to the left, into an Airtime Hill, through another head chopper and straight in there to another inversion. Beautiful. Down we go, missing the trees. Bank round to the right, up into some more airtime before we drop straight down into another Airtime Hill, into a head chopper, and then banking round to the right and in to the brake run. But you know what, I'm very pleased with that. I think it looks good. Like I say, get your name suggestions coming in. I'm really looking forward to seeing them, and of course reading through those, and I'll pick them for episode 3. But here's a little bit more off-ride footage of this coaster in action, just so you can see how it glides quite smoothly there. Actually, I'm pleased with that. Too smooth for a Gerstlauer. Was making its way around with this wonderful cinematic footage. That's the best thing about the game. You can set it and do a really nice cinematic video like this, and you get to see it all in all of its glory. But There we go. Thank you very much for joining me for episode 2 of Frontier Adventure. I'll be back next Wednesday with another episode here on Theme Park Worldwide, so stay tuned for that one, and I look forward to seeing you there. Get them name suggestions coming in. I am looking forward to reading them. I really am. And I'll be back next week where I'm going to start construction on an RMC, the first RMC that I've built in over 4 years. It was the first coaster I ever built in Planet Coaster. I'm building an RMC, and it's going to have like an oil theme, so I look forward to sharing that with you all. Thank you very much for watching, and that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you next week.